not even 9 in the morning. I only slept for 3 hours, and I'm still late. But even if I miss the first half, I'm not gonna miss the rest. We're finally back at the Pomona Swap Meet and Classic Car Show. It is the first time since the old 2 weeks to slow the spread that the Pomona Auto Swap Meet has been allowed to happen. It smells like rust, gasoline, and cigars out here, and that doesn't bug me at all. Dude, check this out. He got the Grinch mobile over here. Looks like something Raffink would like to borrow. Dude, that is epic. Dude, I feel like I have been going crazy, watching the internet very sharply, waiting for this show to come back. LA County, for whatever reason, would not let them reopen the Fairplex here for more than a year. I was waiting. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. It's an outdoor event. So coming through the gate earlier, you could feel the energy of all the regulars ready to get their cars out here and check out other people's rusty gold. Classic cars are not something I know a heck of a lot about, but there's something that I'm always willing to learn more about. Maybe someday someone in the future will look back at our cars and think they were works of art like I think this is a work of art, but somehow I doubt it. There was just this weird point in history where your transportation was an art form. And any chance I get to revel in that bygone era, I take it. For car guys, like guys who own these classic cars, the swap meet part of this show is a big deal, especially for getting parts. But for someone like me who doesn't own a classic car, it's the show car corral, as they call it, that's the main attraction. Holy moly, would you look at this pair of Chevys right here. I'd like to take those out to the levee, even if it is dry. Wow. Oh, dude, look at this black beauty. Low and slow. Loving it. Some of the lowriders and crazy customized cars seriously blow me away. You don't see a lot of them driving down the road anymore. It takes a heck of a lot of dedication to keep a lot of these machines on the road at all, especially the lower they are. But as sleek and cool as some of the extra low ones look when they're parked, I gotta say it's pretty funny watching a line of them coming into or out of this place and going over speed bumps and stuff very slowly. It's a heck of a sight to see. Dude, look at all these Cadillacs. Look at the size of some of these boats over here. Dang. It's weird that you just don't see many of these on the road anymore. Even stuff like that old Lincoln or this Chevy over here. I feel like, was it the cash for clunkers, or why did all the old cars disappear? Growing up in Anaheim in the 80s and 90s, I felt like everybody, or okay, realistically, every third house or so had an old car in the driveway. You know, maybe under a tarp or up on blocks, definitely with that big piece of cardboard underneath to catch the oil. Old VW bugs were everywhere. Playing slug bug back then was intense. Maybe it's just a natural consequence of the passing of time, but I feel like there was a definite shift. And 10 or 15 years ago, they just all started to disappear. But not in Pomona, dude. Here I feel like you could still find every kind of classic car imaginable, and a surprisingly high percentage of them are for sale. Ooh. Like how many of these cars were around when we were growing up? Just K cars and old Buicks and Oldsmobiles, big old 70s and 80s squares, or just old, well-used pickup trucks. Now every time I even see an old F100, I gotta pull over and look, like, dude! See, look up there! Dude! Gosh, some of these machines are gorgeous. I'm glad I woke up. Glad and surprised. Very surprised. Been a long weekend. I've got low voice and even lower brain, but I'm here. Old cars are like ice cream, you know? There's just so many flavors to enjoy. And there's no right or wrong style or era to like. I mean, some people are super into old 90s or old 80s cars. Seems to me it's just all about the love of sleek designs and the smell of gasoline. Personally, I feel myself very drawn the older I get to the older, curvier models. Look at that. If that little sign on the driver's seat is correct, it's a 1935 Chevy. And hot dang, does she have a nice trunk. Dude, look at that thing. Something about those cars of the 30s and 40s with the nice round fenders and the circular headlights really gets me excited. But I've got to admit, there's nothing quite like the cars of the 50s. Hot cup of noodles, dude. Something about that era just screams America. And I mean that in the best possible way. I don't know how big the Fairplex technically is, but if you come out here, expect to do a lot of walking. And whatever you do, don't forget the sunscreen. Which is exactly what I did, because I didn't learn my lesson last time. Dude, holy tamale. Look at all those beauties. That's where the money beats are. I want to get over there. You got to move quick if you show up after, 5, 6 a.m. because that's when people start arriving. And a lot of guys, once you get up to this time of day, 10 a.m. or so, they start to take off. In fact, the swap meet only goes officially until 2 p.m. So you gotta get up pretty early in the morning if you want to party with the car guys. I can't stop looking at that, man. Can you blame me? I cannot stop looking. I love this place because you see everything, like sweet Mustang fastbacks like that, to lowriders, to Fozzie Bear's car. Look at that. A bear in his natural habitat. A Studebaker. Gee, Doc, all I see is a frog and a bear in a rainbow-colored Studebaker. It's a good place to get a bargain on an old car. If you're willing to buy something that's going to take a lot of work to fix. Unfortunately, I have neither the skills nor the budget, as I often say, so I remain a spectator. But I gotta tell you, I got a real love for the game. Oh, dude, 6 cents.
That's a heck of a whip.
There's so much swap meet I never get to see because the swap meet guys pack up so much earlier than the car guys. I'm torn as to where to go. Hard to turn away from these cars, though, especially with paint like that. Oh, man, the colors. Don't get me wrong, though. I get just as big of a kick out of the patina of the old rust buckets as well. Like I said, it's like ice cream, so many flavors. From the big tail fans to the hot rods and hupmobiles. Like I said, there's something for everyone. Even Vampira. How sick would she have looked driving up in that thing? All I can think is Chuck Berry every time I see a Coupe de Ville. I just think of Maybelline. I was motivating over the hill, saw Maybelline in her Coupe de Ville. Dude, look at that thing. Looks like a couple of guys could just pick that up and walk off with it. That thing has got to be fun to drive around. After the last episode we filmed here at the Pomona Auto Swap Meet, I actually had a lot of offers from people to take me on a joyride in their old cars or trucks, and I was super into going. Problem was, that was just before the spring of discontent and the whole pandemic thing. So I wasn't able to follow up with anyone. The itch is coming back though. Look at this. Look at that old Chevy truck right there. Hot dang. I was about to say, dude, I love old pickup trucks. I love old panel vans or delivery vehicles. I love old coupes and sedans and station wagons. And then I realized, probably just easier to say, I love it all. Well, except for the chopped stuff. I like looking at it. It looks really cool. But I have a hard enough time as it is fitting into regular cars. It just hurts my neck thinking about getting in one of those. Dude, again with the colors, man. Look at these things. They weren't afraid to use the whole box of Crayolas back in the day, that's for sure. Look at this old Mercury Monterey here, back to back with this Bel Air. Look at the paint. Dude, they gotta find a way to bring the two-tone paint schemes back, man. They look wicked sweet, that's for sure. I'm only a little over halfway down this whole gigantic parking lot, and I have been weaving in and out, but there is no way, I think, unless you literally came at 5 in the morning to walk down every aisle. It's impossible. I've always wondered why they don't just do this for 2 days, you know? Maybe one day. Or no, that's a confusing way to say it. Maybe in the future, but not today. Huh? Don't worry, I confused myself too. Oh yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Team Blondie, get it? Come on, that was a good joke. I like this, dude. This is pretty sweet. My friend George would really love driving this around town. He loves the flag. I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. If I could have any vintage car in the world, any classic car, it would be a 1970 Mustang Boss 302. And there's a reason. My dad had one. White with black stripes. I loved the look of that car. Of course, he had to sell it back in the day because he had kids to feed back when it wasn't worth nearly anything close to what they're worth now. But I've seriously considered a few other vintage cars. You know, it'd be fun to have something hecka antique like that. But then I think, wouldn't an old station wagon be a little more practical? Gotta have something of a relatively decent size if I'm gonna go on adventures in it. But then again, old cars aren't really practical for long distance travel. And I think if I was just gonna use something around town, you know, at home, it'd be nice to have a pickup truck because at the moment we don't have anything large enough to haul basically anything. It's hard to get wood home, you know, from Home Depot. Forget ever buying furniture or taking a bike anywhere with our vehicles at present. If I was ever gonna get a pickup truck, I'd want one of these, an old Chevy C10, exactly like my grandpa used to have. Although his was way up high, it wasn't low to the ground or black. I don't remember him having any skulls hanging from the rear view mirror. I think the cab was bigger on his. Maybe. But getting picked up in that big old loud truck that smelled like gasoline with the big old bench seat inside. That was always the best part of the end of the day in kindergarten and whatnot. I have no idea what that truck started its life out as in terms of color. By the end of its life, it was a very particular shade of rust. I feel like you could spot his truck from a mile away. So I'm always on the hunt for old C10s like that, you know? I think it was a 66. I could be wrong. More within my budget, though. It's something I'm equally nostalgic for, and it feels funny mentioning it here with all these amazing high-dollar, high-quality classics around. Would be the old 80s GMC Vandura, 3500 preferably. Maybe the StarCraft version like we had back in the touring days. That was our tour van, and the cargo version with no windows was also, not coincidentally, the A-Team van. Those I'm always actively on the hunt for. If I ever find one at the same time that I've got money, which is rare, the random van will happen. Oh, it'll happen. Look at this. This is not a parade. This is what happens when people start to leave. It's not even noon yet, I think. Nope, it's 10:16. But it's hot, the sun is fierce, and some people have already had enough. Before anyone out there in Texas or Florida does the typical thing and leaves a comment saying, hot, you don't know what hot is. I've been in Death Valley at the next door neighbor to the hottest temperatures on Earth. I've been in Florida in the summertime. I know what hot is. It's hot outside, muchachos. It's hot. Plus, the heat doesn't have to be up that high to eventually bake the turkey. Dude, 10 in the morning, and look at the size of that line for margaritas and ice-cold beer. Sheesh. Aw, snap, dude. That's not the year, but that's the paint scheme. Look at that. Black on white. I wish there was an easy place to get to where you could rent cars like this for like a week for a reasonable amount, you know, plus probably a lot of insurance. Like Airbnb for classic cars, but, you know, not $1,000 a day or more. Because it feels like they'd be really fun to experience, more so than own sometimes. Come out here sometime and you'll see. You walk around, you get all stoked on, man, it'd be cool to own an old car. Then when you're leaving, you see all the roads leading out of this place lined with people's cars, with the hoods up waiting for tow trucks. And then you go, oh, probably for the best that I'm not flush with cash. Ah, dude, I'm sorry. I just love the Mustangs. I cannot help myself. For 27 grand though, I think I'd prefer one that had airbags and air conditioning. There's other more entry-level priced members of the species out here. Last time I was here, there were some seriously tempting deals. I almost bid, but it's a good thing that I didn't, because 2020 was unkind to me. I'm still paying down those credit cards. No fun. So I'm glad I didn't have an old car that I also had to pump money into. But see, dang it, that's just like my grandpa's old truck. Kinda wish I did. No, pay off your debts first, buddy. Oh, dude, there it is. Well, it's a 2500, it's a shorter version, too, of my old van. That's the jam. Nothing beats those 80s GMC vans. From the early 80s all the way into the mid-90s, all I hear is the A-Team theme song. Well, and all this other hip-hop that's playing out here. Wow, look at that. Buddy of mine, Spike, that does Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. If you guys are into tiki drinks, adult beverages, definitely check out his show, for real. He's got one of these old Econoline trucks like this. He's totally customized his, though. His is like a Yeti nowadays. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, he gets really into the old drinks and the old recipes, Trader Vic's, Don the Beachcomber. The subject matter is a lot more interesting than you'd think, even for people who don't drink, and I very rarely imbibe. It's one of the few times is if I go on his show. So it's a good, wait a minute, is it a 69 or a 70? It doesn't matter. It's got the look. It ain't the Boss 302, but right back there, it's a Mach 1. Dude, for my money, and in my opinion, that is the finest looking body shape, 1969 and 1970, that Ford ever produced on anything. Don't at me. Something about that mean, pointy front end. The little scoops to either side of the headlights. And especially the frickin' spoiler and the louvers. Dude, this is my favorite of all time. This body style right here. This is definitely a 1970, for sure. These are the droids I'm looking for. And they're for sale if you want them. Sadly, I cannot afford them. Dude, that car is boss. Not literally, it's not a Boss 302, but it's close. I'd take a Mach 1 any day. Although the Boss 302 side stripes, dude, were the jam. My dad's was all white, with black stripes on the hood. That's probably why I still love black and white themed everything. Matter of fact, if I could find it, I would show you, but there's like a prom picture of my dad in a white tux with black trim. matches the car. Something about that shape, man, just really does it for me. Like I said, though, with the ice cream analogy, you know, everybody's into different stuff. It's fun talking to people out here who are like, oh, not the 1970, gross, I'm into whatever, or I'm only into Pontiac. And like I mentioned, I genuinely like it all. I'm a very visual person, though. You can talk to me about engines all day, but I am just gonna check out and go blank mentally. I'm not a numbers guy, man. That's why I'm so bad with money. I'm an aesthetics person for sure. Oh, look at this on the other side. You got a 71 or 72 Mustang parked over there. That's when they started to look weird. My dad hates them, but I don't think they're bad looking, just definitely weird. Pretty sure the 71 still had a good engine in it from what I understand, but by the 72 ones, which body-wise looked exactly the same, I believe gas restrictions had made the engine wimpy. That's about the limit of my Mustang knowledge, and I'm only pretty sure that I know that. Look at this. I'd even drive this around. I think that's what I'd do if I had the extra money. I would buy an old car, drive it around for a while, enjoy it, film it, of course, then sell it for whatever I paid for it and get a different one or trade it or whatever. Like I said, I'm not a car guy, but I feel like that would give you quite an education. Plus, it would prevent you from getting too attached. That's the problem, right? You drive it around for a while, you get all attached and sentimental, then it breaks, you keep fixing it and fixing it. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. So, you know, until London grows up to be a mechanic or something like that, I guess I'll be sticking to newer old cars. The one I would sacrifice for, though, obviously, the old van. I'd love to have that back. Or Grandpa's truck, which looked a whole heck of a lot like that. Except for straight sides, though. The sides didn't go in. Just like that. See, there's a picture of it. There it is right there. Bro at Bram. Look at this. Those are some bold colors. All right, I feel like I've almost had all I could physically stand from the blazing sun up there. Even the airplanes are trying to land and get in the shade. Dude, look at all the 80s cars. Crazy. They're all old enough that they're starting to become classics, like me. Strange. Anyway, whenever I start to feel like my arms are about to burst into flames, that's when I think to myself, maybe it's time to check out the swap meet portion of this swap meet. Fake Tyler? Like I said earlier, it's a mecca for auto parts of all different kinds. Pikachu, Gesundheit. I'm not really in the market for parts, new or otherwise, but if you hang in there long enough, you'll find the old magazines and old toys I am interested in. And if you're really lucky, every once in a while, something genuinely random or wonderfully weird. I haven't found much in the way of weird yet today, and I'm sorry. I tend to skip over a lot of the car parts. It's just that I'm still trying to keep together what the whole cars are, much less their parts. Once you break them apart, I'm really lost. Could not tell you what cars those bumpers came off of. I'm just wise enough not to call that a whole steering stick over there, you know. But mostly, I gotta admit, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Well, actually, in this case, I know these are Volkswagen parts. Yeah, I'm getting pretty lost. I wish someone would send me a sign. Wait, there's some. Heck, yes. Dude, where were those camping ones? When I had the forest-themed living room in the old apartment, darn it. Ooh, I could use that. Look at this. See, look how many people are leaving. It's 11 a.m. It's nowhere close to 2 p.m. when this theoretically ends. Once it starts to get super hot, people are out of here. Incidentally, the sign guy's name is Julio. If you see him out here, tell him I sent you. Dude, zillions and zillions of little bits and pieces of cars. Couple of cool old bikes. Lots and lots of tools. Come to that, there were a lot of those at my high school. In the tool shed, you know, out in the field. Not a lot that's grabbing me though. Ooh, except for that Boss 302. See? Something about those stripes. Dude, look at this. It's a Jim Dandy. That must have been fun to sit on and ride once. It wouldn't be that fun to sit on it now. No, no, no. That would be a pain in the, well, in the rump. Old pedal cars are so cool, but since I can't fit on them, If they had a man-sized version of this, though, I would 100% be asking for a test drive. Look at this guy's got the right idea. Brought his umbrella and his car. He's done his duty. He's gone to bed. Oh, come on. Tell me you picked up on that pun. Well, even if you didn't, I gotta keep on trucking. Look at all this stuff. See, all the other antiques, I get a little more excited for than the car parts. Probably because I have no car in need of parts. Well, actually, I need new shocks for the Mustang. Eventually. Oh, but look at this. Finally, something weird. Look at this record store inside of an old record player case. Look, there's the counter over there. Oh, I hope you guys are seeing this. This is awesome. Here's a little house inside of a thermos. Oh, I'm picking out a thermos for you. Yes. One of a kind things. Look at the little shoes in there. Amazing. Wow. See, creativity. I love it. I think reproductions are cool, especially when there's no other way to afford the real thing. And don't get me wrong, I love mass-printed stuff too, like old oil cans, t-shirts, toys. I just have a special place in my heart for the hand-painted and the one-of-a-kind. Just a little soft spot. I love old bikes. We used to go to this one thrift shop and buy bikes just like this, cut them up, weld them together into tall bikes or long choppers with like little kid wheels in the front, you know? Now it's like they're impossible to find. They're really expensive, so I kind of feel guilty that I chopped up so many old steel framed bikes. Couldn't weld the aluminum with what we had. Don't get me wrong, I was not a talented welder. It was pretty slipshod, pretty big Mickey Mouse job. That kind of made them look cooler though, you know, rat rod bikes. If I can find a picture, I'll show you one of these days.
Well, would you
Look at the size of that gun. That's some sort of air gun, I know. Cowboy boots, vintage amps, all right. It's getting a little weirder, a little wackier. Old drum heads. I like to look at this trailer and this golf cart. Heck yeah. You know what I'm always looking for lately? And you never know when you're gonna find one, but it is getting hard. The old VCR TV, just a little 9-inch TV with the VCR built in. What the heck? They used to be everywhere. What the heck is that, by the way? A hot tub for feet? Anyway, they used to be everywhere. I just found out, though, that there are no factories left in the world making VCRs. It's finally joined Betamax. It's done. Well, I think I've made it to the end. Not necessarily of the swap meet. That goes on even more. There's an even bigger section I didn't even get to. But maybe of my tolerance. I'm very proud of myself. I haggled hard to get some stuff for the booth. I'll show you later. But as you see over there, even all the old, tough, most lizardy of the old, crusty old guys, they're taking off. People have reached their limit out here of sunshine. Ooh, I always make the mistake of going to the wrong side of the swap meet first. Because of course I did find stuff that is more my speed, more my price range, and more my interest range on the other larger side of the swap meet. So when you enter the main entrance, it's the far back end. There's a huge area of epic stuff. Unfortunately, I started to feel a little heffalump and woozy, and my batteries ran out. Not my camera batteries, mind you. My batteries. So I'm going to down a whole bunch of water, turn on the AC, and I'll show you what I got at home. Side note, now I see why all those old guys always carry coolers or wagons with a cooler in it to carry stuff and to hydrate. Sheesh, it's only 1 o'clock. Oh, that's better. Home sweet home, at least partially rehydrated. I'll show you some of the swag that I found. It wasn't too much, but it was some. As you may know, Walmart and Hasbro recently teamed up to re-release the old Ecto-1 vehicle from the 1980s Ghostbusters cartoon. Now, I was mostly supposed to be looking for stuff to sell in our booth down at the Orange Circle, but I don't think I'm going to sell this right away. This is an original 1984 Kenner Ecto-1. I spotted this bad boy from a long way off. It's missing the side door, the back door, but it still has the winch in there, which still works. I was actually gonna film a thing with the new ones that I have, the reissues. So this will come in handy for a comparison. Then, even then, I might not sell it, at least for a little while anyway, because I think I might be able to fix it. Maybe. The cool thing was, when I asked the dude how much this was to buy it really quick, he said, oh, well, how about I throw in all of these? Heck yeah, dude. Bonus busters. Can't hate on that. It's sort of the same situation as the car. I was supposed to be looking for things that, you know, could go in the booth relatively right away, but these might take a little time. I might use them to film something. Plus, as you can see here, a little dirty. They could use a little scrubbing and a little bit of TLC before they go in the booth, but eventually they'll go in the booth. Eventually they'll go. I do have a set of original Ghostbusters, like Venkman over here on the right from the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters, so I don't exactly need him, and it was great to find Janine. These are the Fright Features ones that all have like crazy, little things, and of course, they all broke and got weird over the years. Janine's eyes are supposed to pop out. They sort of don't work, and her mouth's supposed to open. That's the thing, the Fright Features, well, we'll talk about it some other time. All right, on a totally side note from toys, that was just a lucky happenstance finding those things there. I found these epic, original National Forest signs. These are plastic. They are so hard to find real, actual used, original ones from the forest. Believe me, when I had the old apartment, we had our forest-themed living room. That was the hardest theme ever because nobody makes forest stuff, and it's super hard to find original stuff. It is just much, much more scarce. Very hard to find, even though it's this weird outdoor survival material. It's the real deal, so rare and pricey if you find it, but I found some. These are great because you can tell they were actually used, you know, it wasn't just some reproduction or like from a pile in a warehouse. They're actual, real, used National Forest Service Department signs. And then there's this. I have no idea where this originally came from, but it's on old rusty metal, silk screened on there. And it appears to be quite old itself. It's got quite a patina on the printing, right? So it's not some brand new Hobby Lobby type of deal. And yet, I don't know. It's clearly printed, so that is just a cool piece of artwork in its own right, you know? So a couple of sweet signs to stick into the booth. By the way, Allie made this pillow. She might put some of those in the booth or online. Haven't decided yet. She's just been making pillows. Now I saved the best and biggest for last. It's right down there. This thing was awful to drag around the swap meet when you were about to pass out, but it is cool. And it is big. Would you look at the size of that Circle K sign? Bill and Ted are gonna be stoked. This was the smaller sign too. This is one of the ones that would go up on the building, not on the signpost. The signpost ones were even huger. Guy made me a deal on both, but I was like, I can't carry both of those. I was dying in the swap meet. What a lot of dudes will do is they'll mount these up on the wall and put lights behind them, because they'll still light up and glow. That is so cool. And Circle K has now completely changed away from this logo. They got a squared off K. No more rounded 80s K. Even with the 90s blue line. They keep trying to fix what isn't broken. Anyway, aside from that, we've added tons of epic vintage postcards to the booth. All kinds of antique travel brochures. All this crazy stuff. Too much stuff to talk about now. I'll have to come back at you next time with all of that biz. There's other stuff that should go in the booth, but I'm having a hard time parting with. They're for sale if you want them. These are not the droids you're looking for, dude. I want to keep that forever. Look at the size of that original Disneyland Sunkissed poster. And then, of course, there's all kinds of antiques. Seriously, tons of paper. Okay, like I said, I gotta save it for next time. Save it for next time. Make sure to visit store.randomland.com for sick merch. We just got more hats and shirts in, and more are on the way if they sell out. The interrupted supply lines have been uninterrupted, so new designs are coming. There's already some new designs available, and it all comes directly from right here, from right in the old casa. Sometimes it takes a little longer than Amazon or Walmart would, sometimes not. But that's because it's a small, handmade, hand-done operation, and everything you order is special delivery from Random Land. Anyway, thank you guys for coming with me to hang out and go on an adventure today. I know it wasn't the Magic Kingdom or anything, although believe me, that's coming. That is coming. We've got a lot more random and exciting stuff ahead, so stay tuned. But for now, you've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well.